Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another video. Today it's supposed to get up to plus 32 degrees Celsius out here. I'll put the translation in Fahrenheit on the screen, and that's pretty hot, especially for this early in the year. Those are midsummer temperatures usually for out here. Plus 32, that's way too hot for me. I don't enjoy it anymore, but the cows don't enjoy it either, and that's why we have a special type of ventilation in our barn called tunnel ventilation. So the front of this barn is all open. The panels, they slide all the way down. And then we have 10 big exhaust fans. I believe they're 6-foot tall fans, and they pull the air through the barn. And you guys will notice there's only 5 out of the 10 fans on. And that's because this spring, my dad decided, you know what, we're not gonna turn all of them on because it's just not necessary when it's not even above 20 degrees Celsius. But today, all of a sudden, we're blasting right past 30 degrees and we're getting pretty hot. So I'm gonna turn the rest of these fans on. They do suck a ton of electricity, and you really see that in the power bill at the end of every month, and that's why we didn't want to have them all on, just wasting power. So now that it's hot though, we can definitely justify it, and we're going to turn all 10 of them on. They're literally just some switches right beside the fans here. So that's kind of a master switch for this fan right here. It's got a little miniature control box for each individual fan, and then that relays back to the control box that regulates the ventilation for this entire barn, and that's kind of how it works. There you go, you can see this one's already spooling up. These tunnel ventilation fans, they do only kick on in sections, so as it starts to get warmer in the barn, more of them will turn on. Just like that, all 10 fans are spooling away, but you know what's working good? When you're standing all the way at the back of the barn and it still feels fresh and you can smell and breathe in fresh air. 300 cows, a little over 300 cows in this barn, and they're gonna need a lot of draft today just because of that temperature. But we're gonna go do some other stuff this morning. All right guys, next thing we're doing this morning is we're putting close-ups in the barn. We do this every Monday or Tuesday, but usually on Monday if we're really on top of it. We just took 6 cows out of the dry cow corrals, which are 8 and 9. We're gonna put them in the chute system back there. And then once we get them in the chute, we're gonna walk through our bred heifer pen as well. And we're just gonna be looking for heifers that are bagging up that look like they're gonna calve within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So let's get these up into the chute. So these ladies, they were just fed, so you can see they're all eating at the feed bunk right now. And I'm able to get a really good look at their udders here now and see if there's anyone that's bagging up. Well, I walked through the 2 heifer pens here and nobody's really bagging up at all, so that's good. That means we just have these 6 cows. We're gonna go put them in the barn. So we're just giving the cows their vaccines right now. And right away, we also trim the cows' tails with this cordless trimmer that we have here. Me and my dad, we were always wondering like why the battery was dying so quickly on this cordless trimmer, and it never really worked good. We could trim like 5 tails and the battery would die and it would just crap out on us until we figured out. I always used to go to 4-H when I was a kid, and we learned you can grease underneath on the blades here on the trimmer and put some lubricant in there, and it goes a lot easier. My dad did that. We realized we should be doing that, and it almost went to gear higher, so it's working a lot better now. Now we're gonna take corral 1 out, and we're gonna just take the biggest calves out of this corral, the biggest 20, and move them up to the next age group. In. Come on. Hey. This afternoon, I am going to be planting some alfalfa seed in the ground. We're going to do a bit of seeding here. I'm going to be using the Versatile Genesis back here, 2210. and we're gonna hook it up to our old Melrose press drill. Just a smaller 20-foot drill, pretty old. It's probably around 40-50 years old. Used it last summer a little bit. It's gonna use it again now. And we're gonna put some alfalfa seed in the ground with that thing. We did finish up seeding with the big drill, the big boy, about 2 weeks ago now or something. Maybe not quite, maybe 10 days, something like that. And all the seed did go down relatively in the moisture. A little bit of canola looks like is dry, so we are gonna need some rain. And there is not a lot of rain in the forecast. And the alfalfa seed that I'm going to be putting in the ground today is definitely not going to be going in the moisture either. So why are you going to be planting it then, Jan? Well, we're kind of crossing our fingers and betting that we're going to get rain, although it's not certain. We might not get any rain at all. It is pretty dry out there, but the idea with putting this seed in the ground is we're just going to put it there. It's going to sit dormant until it does get some moisture, and then it's going to start to germinate and the alfalfa will start to grow. And that's our idea. So you can see now our versatile Genesis is still hooked up to the budding manure spreader. And the reason why we're going to be using this tractor is just because it's got the GPS auto steer. So you really appreciate the GPS auto steer when you're seeding with something like the Melrose press drill, and makes your life a lot easier. So we're going to just leave the manure spreader right here where it is, get this unhooked. I think it's going to take me about 90 seconds to unhook this wagon. A minute 12, that's not bad at all. And we're gonna go ahead and turn the air conditioning all the way up. So this is our GPS auto steer monitor here. I'm just gonna turn it on right now because it does take like 20-25 minutes to get connected to a bunch of satellites and before it's gonna actually do the automatic steering for us. I'm gonna start out by putting some fuel in this tractor because we've got about a quarter tank, and that old drill is not the most portable thing. You can't really drive that fast with it, so better start out by filling this girl up. I always put the fuel cap on the steps now because I've lost the fuel cap by putting it there and forgetting to put it on this way. You're either gonna step on it or you're gonna see it and put it on. So I gotta get this seeder hooked up, but there's no jack on the hitch, so Costa's gonna lift it up here for me. Alright, so we got 2 bags in each box, so a total of 4 in the seeder, and then we also got 4 more bags on top, and I'm just doing that, not putting it all in at once. We're gonna empty the 4 bags out into the field. That should give me about almost 20 acres, probably maybe 17 acres, and then I can double check, okay, we're empty at about 16 or 17 acres, and then I know I'm putting down the right amount of seed. Instead of if I just put it all in and then I was 10 acres short at the end, that would be pretty bad. So that's why we didn't put it all in at once. It definitely fits, but just to kind of double check and play it safe. So last fall we seeded this field with alfalfa, the exact same drill as well. And we were hoping that the snow that melted this spring would get the seed to germinate because we put the seed in the ground so late last fall. But it looks like it probably came up out of the ground and then froze and died off. Or maybe it just died because there was no moisture for a little bit there this spring. But it didn't work out, so now I'm doing the exact same thing. And we're putting about 13 pounds of seed down to the ground per acre. And hopefully, you know, it's gonna sit dry now. There's no way this stuff is going in any kind of moisture right now. But hopefully, if we get a rain, because the seed is gonna be so shallow, it's not going deep at all. A little bit of rain will get the stuff germinated up out of the ground. So hopefully there is rain in the forecast right now. Not a lot, but fingers crossed. Just hopping out here. These bags are slipping back a bit. Don't want to lose them, they're not cheap. some right there. There was a little bit of inoculated seed left in the drill, and that's why that one's a bit green, and I'm actually able to see it. There's another kind of tan seed right in front of my finger there. It's pretty much the same color as the dirt, but that's going probably 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch deep, so super shallow, and it's absolutely bone dry. It's like, look at the dust, it's unreal. It's like you're at the beach. It's just pure sandbox sand. I guess we should also check in the boxes here, make sure that seed is feeding out of every run. The way you can tell seed is running out of every single run, you can see the little dimples there. And every run on this box is good. Sweet, everything's looking good. So the way this old seeder works, you got 2 discs and they kind of open up a bit of a run in the soil here. And then it's dropping seed down in between those 2 discs into the ground. And then you got your pack wheels at the back and they're packing it down. Okay, so I've seeded about 10 acres so far. You guys can see we're still super close to that tree line. So a couple passes, probably like 5 up and downs there. But I gotta pull over and check and make sure that the seed is still feeding out of the boxes evenly, because this is a different type of drill than that big fancy Bourgault, where it all hoppers down nicely into an auger and you never really have to move the seed around the box. But this drill, it's a lot different. The meters are all separate and there's a bunch of them across the entire box. So if there's a lot of seed on this side and there's none on this side, it's only gonna go down there and it's not gonna move. So you just gotta manually move it over. And that's why we got this end of a broom, so we can do that. So yeah, you can see there's quite a bit less seed on that end run. So we're just gonna have to kick a bunch over. And right away while we're out here, we're just gonna double check and make sure that there's seed going down in each run. So from the back of the drill here, we can see into the discs and we can see if there's seed in there or not. So it's pretty easy from the back of the drill here. So I'm just gonna walk along, check down every single run and make sure there's seed coming out. Make sure that all of our hoses are still lined up with the discs. Over the last couple of years, we've really struggled to get some good, strong alfalfa established out in the fields. Usually it's pretty good out here, but over the last few years, we've had some pretty brutal winters, specifically not getting a lot of snow coverage on the field and then getting some really cold weather. Snow is a really good insulator, but over the last couple of winters out here in Saskatchewan, we've had less snow and then really incredibly cold winters, and that freezes the alfalfa and kills it. So we've had 2 or 3 gnarly winter kills in our alfalfa, and we only get 2 cuts to start with. So it's been pretty tough out here over the last couple of years for us, anyway, to get some good alfalfa. We love feeding it to the milk cows, and it's always a huge asset to our farm to have some good alfalfa silage on the yard that we're feeding to our cows. That's why we like it so much. It's a lot better and a lot easier to cut and chop and put in the silage pile than pea silage is. So that's why we're so keen on getting some good alfalfa established out here. So we finished up the field that I wanted to get seeded today here, and it was definitely less acres than we thought. We were thinking about 35 acres, but it turns out 24 acres. It's because we weren't seeding the entire field, more or less just half of the field, so we kind of we're a little bit off there, but doesn't matter. We still got the 4 bags on top of the drill. The drill is definitely putting it down lighter than we thought. We were thinking about putting it down at 12 to 13 pounds. It looks like it was closer to 8 pounds, but that's not going to be too big of an issue. We're reseeding this. Obviously you want to do a good job, but it's going to be fine. We're going to need rain. If we get the rain, we'll have a nice alfalfa field here anyway. 13 pounds with alfalfa seed it's on the more aggressive side, I guess. So Yeah, we're gonna go and park this in the shed. I don't know, I think I'll clean the seed that's out in the drill yet, probably tomorrow or the day after with a vacuum cleaner, put it back into a bag, clean it up nicely, and put this thing away for storage, because I don't think we're gonna be using this thing again. But yeah, that is gonna be it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. Check out the Instagram at @SaskDutchKid. You can grab yourself a t-shirt or one of these hats at farmfocus.com. It'll be linked in the description down below for you guys to check out if you want. And as always, I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.